Welcome, pilots, to our new Dev Short series. At your request, actually. Hi, Zukata.
Hello.
These videos are a way for us to bring key updates and response to some of the community most frequent questions. And when we have something important to share or to clarify with you guys, then we'll drop one of these.
Yeah.
Right now, as you know, we have the Battle Pass number 2 of Season 1 going on. This is the Smuggler's Run Battle Pass, where you have up to 35 rewards, including the Scorpion War Robots, the Tusk Weapon, the Whiplash ability as well,
Right.
and you have lots of customizations that you can also unlock for your robots. There's also some Twitch drops happening right now. So if you are following some of our influencers and content creators, just go on our website to get the list of the influencers that you can follow to unlock some rewards. So you have like credits and salvage. You have 1 day of premium as well. You have 1 sticker and 1 common pilot as well.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we also have just announced the season 2, and there are some major updates coming your way. So first of all, we have an overhauled league system. There are a lot of changes in the leagues. We have a brand new game mode called Spearhead, and we have 2 new robots that are entering the fight, Loki and Mesa. We also, besides that, we also have a hero pilot. Sora Singh joins the roster. And yes, we have a new Titan, a spider bot, Volta, attacker robot, and it arrives in Season 2 as well. So, about the details for the Season 2, we've seen a lot of excitement around the Season 2 content already, and yes, you will be able to test them out. So we are planning a Season 2 playtest later this month, so stay tuned. There'll be all the new robots, a new Titan, new game mode, everything that is included in Season 2. Follow our Discord and socials for more information and access details.
Yeah, and actually PTS is very important for us because our community's feedback is, what is continuing shaping the development for the game. We're reading everything that you're saying on Discord, on Steam discussions, on Reddit. So let's jump into some of the topics actually that we gathered from our community right now to address and answer your questions. Just for clarity, by the way, some of those questions were just edited for brevity and clarity purposes, so I hope you don't mind.
Why is balancing such a difficult thing to achieve in this game? I think content or balance changes should be first tested by top players. Why don't we do this?
That's actually a great question, and we absolutely want to do this. So first of all, I want to address the first part. Why is it so hard to balance the game? Indeed, if you are used to more like class-based shooters or hero-based shooters, in that case, the amount of content that you have on your hero build is much smaller than in our case, where you can mix and match almost everything in the game, and it's almost impossible to test every combination out, so that there is no any combination that can bring you this OP feeling. But at the same time, this might be a good thing for a game like this, because when you find this combination, it also, first of all, very enjoyable for you, not very enjoyable for other players, but they quickly know about this one. So it's kind of natural evolution of the metagame. Then, second part is that we want to do, and we will introduce the playtest, public playtest, from this moment and in future. It's just we always have this dilemma between, if we know exactly what is the problem, it's easier for us to roll out a patch with the fix of that problem. But in the case when the solution is not obvious, we know the problem, but it can be solved in many different ways, it's better to ask you, the players, what solution is the best one. So for that, we will do playtest servers, public playtests. And we have already started that from April, and we'll continue this for the following updates as well. Now, I want to address a couple of weapons that are being raised in the community. First of all, I want to talk about shotguns. I want to talk about Tusks and Fowlers, because they are currently underperforming, and we know that, and we want to investigate this issue more, so there will be definitely more progress on that side. Second, we made a nerf for Siren torso ability, and while the whole situation about nerf was in general perceived positively, still there is a lot of controversy about how exactly it was nerfed. And we will definitely look more into that and try to find the best way for players. So you'll see that on PTS as well.
I just want to also mention something because I'm the boring producer here, so I'm going to talk about like actual production. So for us, there's some changes that are easy to implement when this is just a config change, like just changing a stat. That's quite easy for us to change, and we can test this through PTS. Sometimes, like Siren, for example, if we really want to change Siren, we need to actually have some development time for this. And when we mean development time, it also means some recertification of the console clients, which takes time and a lot of QA efforts as well. So that's the reason why sometimes, you might be wondering, like, why are they pushing so fast on the balancing updates for this weapon, but not this weapon? Because sometimes the solution is quite easy and it's just a stat change and we can just tweak it around. Sometimes it's actual development, and in that case, it would require us to spend a lot more significant
Jen's
time.
absolutely right here. Sometimes fixing an ability is exactly the same time as developing a new ability.
Yeah. So maybe that's the reason why sometimes there's a bit of a mismatch between what you're expecting and what we can do in a very timely fashion.
Will Volta be available by leveling, or is it a Battle Pass exclusive first?
You want to read?
I want to answer this one. Yeah. So Volta is actually planned for progression, so it will not be part of the battle pass. And the reason why we are doing that is that we have 4 classes in the game, and we have only 3 titans at the moment. So Volta is kind of closing the gap of the last class 4 titans. I'm not promising that all the next titans will be introduced the same way. Sometimes they might go into the battle pass, but for Volta, it goes directly into progression. As for the level, I cannot tell you at this moment because we still want to understand how much of our player base will end the season at which level. So stay tuned, we'll announce the level of progression for Volta later.
Will war robots from previous battle passes be available after they expire? I don't see them in the workshop or warehouse while their passes are active.
So yeah, actually we answered this question, I think it was almost a month and a half ago, where we explain exactly the rotation of content when it's going to be introduced in the Battle Pass and what is happening to the content after. So just to re-explain a bit on this topic, so every new content, every new robot, apart from Volta, is going to go to the Battle Pass. And then once the Battle Pass is finished, actually the robots will go to the daily deals and to the shop at the same time. And then after that, it will go to the normal progression line as well, so that it's completely free to play for all the players. There's another question as well that we've seen regarding the cosmetics from the Battle Pass. The cosmetics are going to be handled slightly differently compared to the robots because this is not content per se, playable content. So after the end of the Battle Pass, these stickers or materials and everything will go to the store or will be rolled out through in-game events, for example. So there might be a special week where you can play the game and acquire some of those contents for free.
Can we increase the intel gained from salvaging equipment? Salvaging a level 8 incinerator only gives 10 intel. Could we get at least a 50% return?
So I can probably answer this. We are looking into this, and we really want to investigate if there is enough intel for players' progression. And we heard your complaints about that progression might be hindered too much with intel. So this is actually not a bad idea, and we'll look into that. I cannot promise you that this will be implemented in the next patch or after that, but we are looking into the problem for sure.
And actually, talking about Intel progression, we just ran an event that just finished before the release of this video with double gains from playing the game. So Intel was one of the things that you could double your gains with.
Yeah.
Because we are trying to understand exactly how we can address this hindrance on the progression through Intel as well. So we're trying a few things here and there to try and get
there is definitely a balance still to be found here, because on the one side we don't want the game to be too shallow, especially for players who can just buy a lot of stuff and immediately upgrade their robot for maximum level. But at the same time, if you limit the restrictions way too much, in that case it becomes too boring to grind for those intel.
Yeah, I think it's a really important balance for us to find between the two type of players. You know, it's it's always going to be something that we're going to have to play with a bit. Yeah.
Are there any plans to let us earn intel from battles to help with upgrade times?
That's actually not a bad proposal, and we could look into that. It's just maybe, probably, if we ever do this, we will do this through quests. We still, as a design team, as a development team, we still want the way how you get each of the currencies to stay perfectly clear. So you get credits as a reward per battle, you get intel as a reward per quest fulfilled, and you get salvage as a reward for scrapping the parts.
Are there any plans for earning salvage through dailies, weeklies, and match rewards?
I think in the previous question I actually already answered that one. So no, we are not planning to do this.
Are there plans to improve the game interface? It's very complex to use.
Yes. So one of the first thing that we're looking into actually with the next update is to change the way that the factory builds and the custom builds are working, because right now it's very confusing. It's not working as well as we intended. So this is definitely one of the few things that we're going to change on the interface. But the team is, since the release of the game, actually, we've been implementing lots of small different things on the UI to try and help the players navigating through the different menus and everything. But definitely, especially the builder is one of our core feature of the game. Is the really number one feature, because this is the build and mix and match of the robots, right? So we want to make this experience as easy and digestible as possible for all the players. So definitely something that we're going to continue looking into and tweaking as we go.
And right now we already know that the biggest challenge, especially for new players, is to understand the difference between these two concepts, like factory pre-built robot and custom robot. So in future we will work on improving this part of the workshop.
Can you add mouse over tooltips about items, currency, and robots? For example, to know if a robot supports light or heavy weapons.
I can answer this one because we try to keep our UI user interface the same for consoles and for PC, because in that way it's much easier to maintain than maintain two versions of the interface at the same time. And for consoles, they do not support this the functionality of hovering over items. But you can see the descriptions for each currency when you go into the item and you see the item description. It is there. So this is how we tell about the way how this currency is used and how you can get it.
Can you add level up options in the shooting range so we can see what the maximum potential of equipment is and view the differences between each stage experimentally?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, that's actually the whole goal of the firing range in the first place. We added this so that players, before you're making a purchase and might be disappointed, or we wanted to allow players to test something first, but also, I mean, especially because our game is mix and matching all the parts, we really wanted to have a space where the players can actually test their creations. But that's true that as well, adding a way for them to test a progression is very cool. And actually, I saw another comment from a player saying, it was on Discord, it was last week, I saw somebody mentioning that it's not real conditions, real combat conditions in the firing range, and they would love to have some way for them to have more real combat kind of things. So I know that we can, shoot at, you can spawn like a Titan or something, but maybe we can have another room in firing range where there's like more like combat kind of experience for players to be in like real condition.
We can definitely think into that direction, and thank you for the proposal. It's really cool, and we know that there are a lot of data maniacs around you in the audience, guys. So we actually you want to know everything till the last digit, and we'll try to deliver that. Yeah.
Are there any plans for anti-camping mechanics or improvements to the respawn system to make combat more dynamic and fair for all playstyles?
So first of all, in the last update that we had, we removed that damage buff when you spawn a robot on a spawn point. So for now, from now on, players will not be able to abuse this part, right? Then we are going to look into the problem further, but I have to address this issue that actually right now, especially in the higher leagues, The meta is dominated by two types of builds. One are very short range like flamethrowers and scourges, and the second one is sniper weapons. There is no room for mid-range weapons, and this is more like a problem for us to solve. Yeah.
All right, so this wraps our very first Dev Shorts with you today. Thank you again for joining. The next major moment will be the playtest for Season 2 that Zucata talked about, where you can test all of the content, upcoming content for Season 2, including the Spider Titan.
Yay.
And so just stay tuned on our social media, Discord, website to get more information on how to access this. And, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one, in the next video, hopefully. And you can use, meanwhile, the promo code DevShot1 to grab a free gift as a thanks for tuning in. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Pilots, and see you in the Wild 10. Bye.
Bye.